How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, here with one final tier list before EVO. However, before we get started, I wanted to discuss what a tier list actually is, because there are some misconceptions about that. So a lot of people think that a tier list is saying which character is better, like straight up. But that's not actually true. What a tier list actually shows is how many matchups that character wins. So for example, in my old tier list, which is what's shown right in front of you, I have Sonya Blade at the very top. And that's because, in my opinion, Sonya Blade wins every matchup she's in, or at the very least she is even. In other words, there's no character who really beats what she does. She's great up close, she has 50-50s, she's pretty good at mid-range too, and she has some really good zoning if you're very far away. So nobody really has a playstyle that beats her in that matchup. So for this one example, Sonya does appear to be better than most characters. However, in a game like Street Fighter V, you have a character like Rashid, who's very good, and a character like Juri, who's considered bad or middle of the road depending on who you ask. However, if Juri fights against Rashid, it's actually a better matchup for her, and she's most likely going to win, despite being the lesser character. So a tier list isn't about which character is better, it's about which character does well in most matchups. So just keep that in mind as we go forward in this video. And of course keep in mind this tier list is just my opinion, and your viewpoints may vary. So please tell me your tier list in the comments down below, and also tell me what you don't like about my particular tier list. I'd love to read about both of those things. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now before making this tier list, I've been doing a lot of research, as I always do. I've looked up other popular creators and fighting game players who have made their own tier lists, so that way I can get as many perspectives as possible and try to make my tier list as accurate as I can. So at the very start we have Sonya Blade. I still believe this character is the strongest at this point. I don't know what they were thinking with this character. She's either intentionally crazy good, or they just made a couple of mistakes and she's accidentally crazy good. But either way, she's ridiculously good. I think she should stay right here for now, but we'll see. As the video goes on, maybe I'll change my mind. However, someone I do want to move is her daughter. This little lady right here is crazy good. And I saw a lot of people took issue with that in my last video. They're like, why is she S tier? There's no way she's top tier. That's ridiculous. This character is shockingly good at high level because she has very little risk and tons of reward. Nearly everything she does is safe. She has very good crushing blows. Her combos hurt just enough. Her zoning is surprisingly good. She has hands down one of the best projectiles in the entire game because she hits lower to your character, so you have to block it, and she also ducks while doing it so she avoids other projectiles, and it's not even difficult to time. She ducks right away, and that's also her go-to combo extender. She can end every string with the special move that if she spends one bar is neutral on block, so she keeps herself safe even after doing a mix-up, so she's very good at hit confirms. She's just really good. She doesn't lose at any part of the game. There's nothing really lacking about this character. She's just super solid. Very similar to Sonya, the only difference I think is damage. They're both great zoners with great projectiles, great crushing blows, but Sonya Blade I feel just dominates more up close, whereas Cassie Cage is a bit better at other distances, but she'll never really kill you up close that easily. They're both very good. You can honestly switch back and forth between the two. I just think Sonya Blade is a bit better at this point in time. And Gareth. This is funny because Gareth is actually moving down the totem pole as time goes on. I don't think Gareth is better than Jackie anymore, just because Jackie really lays on the pressure, and just like Sonya, she can delete your health bar, and the longer the fight goes on for, the worse it is for you because her crushing blows actually build, so she has the grapple crushing blow. Once she throws you a couple of times, it's gonna crushing blow the next time, and she also has like the counter throw, where if you try to throw her and she breaks it, she can now spend a bar and throw you, and that's a mix-up while also being a crushing blow. So she just gets stronger as the fight goes on. She's a really good character. However, I do like that NetherRealm didn't give her any zoning or any projectiles. That was very smart, because she's only good in one area. But even so, I think she dominates the game, especially against other top tier characters, so I want to put her in front of Gareth. So we have Gareth and Erron Black. I feel like both of these characters have a sad story, right? They're almost Shakespearean. It's so poetic. Everyone thought they were the best characters, and now they're still really good, but they're like the worst of the best. They're great characters still, but the lesser of the great characters. I think I still like Gareth being in front of Erron Black, just because Gareth is stupid easy to use. He really is. If you're a good player, you can make Gareth work no matter what, whereas Erron Black has some really crazy dial-in combos, so if he whiffs, it's just whiff punish city for you. So if you're the opponent and you roll and he commits to a string, you can just whiff punish him for free. He's wide open, and a lot of his mix-ups don't work in the corner because they become punishable, like his meter burn boot drop. That boot drop, by the way, should be unsafe, shouldn't it? I feel like it should be very punishable, and it's just really difficult to punish. NetherRealm, please make that way more punishable after EVO. I have a feeling that once EVO is finished, we're going to have a huge update. And it would be really awesome if every character got a third variation slot too, like for tournaments and ranked. Oh, that'd be so sick. That would be amazing. But I think I like how this top row looks so far. I really like it. I like this layout. I think it works. So now let's go on down here. Okay, so Scorpion. Scorpion is a great player for beginners and pros alike. However, the thing about Scorpion that kind of holds him back is that he's always taking a risk. Pretty much every good string he has, aside from 4-3-4, is minus or punishable. And it's not really a mix-up, not offline. Online it can be a bit trickier, and don't get me wrong, he still has fantastic range, and once he gets the life lead, that's what makes him really annoying, especially online, because he can just jump backwards and throw a chain, and you have to respect it, because if you dare do anything like a projectile, he can teleport and get a full combo on you, so it's super risky, and it's very frustrating because that chain can also crushing blow, and it's not even punishable from that distance, so it's very frustrating. So don't get me wrong, I think Scorpion is a very annoying character. I certainly agree with people in that regard. So I think he's actually pretty good here, because at the tournament scene, they like doing his teleport cancel, which is one of the few real mix-ups in the game. Like, it's unreactable. If he does the teleport cancel and attacks, or does the teleport cancel and throws, it's unreactable. You have to guess which one's coming. It's ridiculous. People have found some pseudo option selects that kind of cover some of the situations, but not all of them. So he has a true mix-up, like a ridiculous true mix-up that tracks your location. It only cost him 1 defensive bar, so it's pretty ridiculous. Baraka. So these two, I think I want to switch. I want to switch these two. I think Cetrion is really good when played at the high skill level. I think Baraka is a better character at casual level, but keep in mind this is more or less a tournament tier list. In other words, it's the highest level of play. So I feel like at very high level, Cetrion wins more matchups than Baraka does. Because Baraka versus some characters like Sub-Zero just has a very tough time, whereas Cetrion can dominate nearly every matchup, including zoning. She's of course meant to be a counter rushdown character. She beats characters who don't have projectiles like Jackie, because she has so much good zoning, and her teleport is also really good for escaping situations. But even against other zoners, like Sub-Zero or Scarlet, she can hover in the air and use that fire laser. And that beats nearly every ground projectile these characters have, so it makes her very good at everything. So I think Cetrion should be a little bit in front of Baraka. I'm definitely going to move Sub-Zero down. Sub-Zero, just like Aaron Black and Gareth, has a tragic tale of being top tier, and he's just moving down and down as time goes on. He's getting lower and lower down the totem pole. I think Jax is really good. I think the problem with Jax is, once he spins that crushing blow when he's heated up, people aren't really scared of him anymore because he doesn't have combos in that first variation, he just has the mix-ups. And the low's not really a threat, it just knocks you down, which gives you escape options, whereas the overhead is minus, so nothing he does is super scary. The secondary variation is actually a lot of fun. It has combos, but you lose access to those super good crushing blows, so it's a real catch-22. It's a 50-50, and I haven't seen any pro player actually give up the first variation because they love those crushing blows. But the problem is Jax just doesn't feel that scary when he hits you, because you get knocked down and you get wake up options. It's not that big of a deal. His zoning is okay, but it's not the best. He does have anti-air options though, which is cool. A lot of characters don't have that for projectiles, so he's okay. I think he's fine where he is. I like him right here. I don't know about this. This is going to be tricky. I haven't seen very much Scarlet or Cabal, so I don't think these characters were as good as I initially thought. I just haven't seen as much of them. Where should I put these characters? I want to put Scarlet like behind Jade, I think. And then I want to put Sub-Zero behind Scarlet. I like this. I like this situation. I'm still not sure how to feel about Cabal. I feel like Cabal plays Mortal Kombat 11 really well. The problem is his tournament variation got rid of one of his best moves, just like Noob Saibot. They both have amazing moves that don't exist in tournament play. But even so, he has such good footsies. He can walk backwards and do his best footsie tool, his best mid. Just walking backwards. He's super good. And up close he has restanding, he has pressure, he's really good. He can deny your wake up, which makes him very strong. He has a projectile which up close extends a combo or is plus, I think, or at least safe. It's really good. I think it's actually plus. So he's absurdly good up close, and from far away he's not bad either. I think in terms of matchups, I do think he belongs here. I think he's really good. You don't see him very much, oddly enough, but I still think he's a really good character. I really do. I think people are sleeping on him, just like they were sleeping on Jade. I like where Jade is. I like where Scarlet is. Sub-Zero, I think, might be in a good spot. So I think first and second row are done. And that makes me very happy because now we can move on. So I think Liu Kang is actually a surprisingly good character. He does rely a lot on mix-ups, but I think he's pretty darned good. I almost want to put him in front of Sub-Zero, but I think that would be a bit ridiculous because Liu Kang only has a couple of things. Liu Kang and Katana are actually very similar characters. They both have like one or two really good strings and that's it, but those strings are just really good. Liu Kang's advantage though is that his really good string is not a dial-in string, and it's actually an option select, so he can do this move that's plus on block if he finishes it. And if you dare press a button in between, you can get counter hit and he gets a crushing blow, which is crazy. Now there are moves that can actually interrupt him, like a down one, but if you start doing that, he'll just do his parry, and his parry can lead to a full combo too. Now you could do a down 3, which will beat the parry and also interrupt the string, but he can just do his low fireball and that beats your down 3. So he's like a pseudo mind game, and a lot of players just don't understand what to do in that situation. It's just so much guessing, and you're the one that has to guess. And of course he could just not finish the string too, and now you're at minus, so he could do that as well. So Liu Kang is like Katana, but he has actual mix-ups. He has an actual meta, whereas Katana is just, will I finish my string or not? If it hits you, I'm gonna do a combo. If it doesn't hit you, I'm gonna finish it or end early and go for a throw. But that's not really a mix-up, especially offline. You can totally react to that and interrupt her. So Katana is like a much weaker version of Liu Kang, but they both have the same overall game plan. They're both like, I have two good strings, and that's it. I'm gonna try to make it work. I think I'm definitely gonna have to put Noob Saibot behind Kung Lao at this point because you don't have many pro players who want to even use Noob Saibot anymore. You really don't, and I see a lot more players picking up Kung Lao. I think we have 3 now. 3 pro players who are very good with Kung Lao. They're not just playing him, but they're dominating with him. They're making it the top 8. They're doing super good. Whereas Noob Saibot is kind of faded from, he's faded into obscurity, the poor guy. Kung Lao is such a simple game plan, but it takes skill to actually execute it. He sets up pressure with his Z-hat, he meter burns it, and then makes you guess. You have to guess, is he gonna throw me, or is he gonna kick me? If he's gonna throw me, your best option is to let go of block, because that way you avoid the 50-50. You can try to guess, but throws are always guessing and that's frustrating. However, if you think he's gonna throw you, and you let go of block, and you're wrong, he can just kick you and get a full combo, and his combos really hurt. And that's Kung Lao's game plan in a nutshell. His teleport is also very awesome, because while you can react to the regular version, good players will just spin the bar and then stay underground and then whiff punish you, which is really cool. So Kung Lao is not only really good at pressuring you, but he's also not bad at getting in. It just costs him meter in both situations, but he's good at whiff punishing too. He gets the combo off of that. He's honestly a pretty solid character, and everyone thought he was terrible, but now he's just average. He's just fine, but at high level he can be super good. He just requires tons and tons of throwing. Okay, so then we have Noob Saibot, we have Frost, and we have Raiden. So I'm gonna go ahead and move Frost down here. I'm gonna go ahead and move Raiden down here too. I wanna move Kano in front, but you know what? For now, let's just go ahead and put Johnny Cage up here. That's the main thing I wanted to do. So I think Johnny Cage has actually gotten a lot better. I really do. I think Johnny Cage has evolved in the meta as time has gone on, but what's so sad about Johnny Cage is that he's just fundamentals. He's literally just his strings and his base special moves. No one even uses his variation moves. It's like he has no variation, because they're not good. His crushing blows are also almost useless. He doesn't even have a throw crushing blow. The guy has not a single good crushing blow outside of the uppercut one, and that's about it. Now you can kind of be stupid online and do his mime, his parry at the very start, and that works online a lot, and that can be a crushing blow, right? And so can his nutcracker if the opponent's just crazy and goes for a high attack right at the start. But at a high level, that's not gonna happen. So he has no good crushing blows, but his fundamentals are super good. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put him in front of Noob Saibot, I think, just because I see him more at tournaments. I think he wins more matchups than Noob Saibot does, maybe? Keep in mind, if we're just playing online against average players, I think Noob Saibot is much higher up, because Noob Saibot can punish any mistake you make. However, he's very unsafe on a lot of his stuff, and once you know that, you can punish it. And you can duck under a lot of his stuff, he has no mix-ups. Johnny Cage has actual pressure and really cool cancels. I love his Fatal Blow cancel for combos and pressure and throws is so sick. So I think at a high level, Johnny Cage is barely better than Noob Saibot. Now the C tier. The C tier is honestly almost done. Like, it's almost set itself up. That's the funny part. So in my opinion, I think Kano's good. Kano has an air Kano ball, which is awesome. It avoids a lot of zoning, and when he enhances it, my god is it tough to punish. He stays so low to the ground. I'm sure it is punishable, but it's tough. And even his regular Kano ball, while it is punishable, it's not as easy to punish as, say, Scorpion's teleport. It's a bit trickier. He recovers at a weird time, so if you play him more and more, you'll get better at it, but here's the thing also, he has 50/50s. They might be reactable, but online they're really not. Offline they're also pretty tough too. He has a lot of overheads, lots of lows, so with Kano you have to actually know the matchup. And that's why I have him in front of these characters. These characters, you already know what they can do because they're like one-trick ponies. And Frost is just so darn slow that once you get in and start bullying her, she can't do anything. Whereas Kano is dangerous up close if you don't know what he's doing. He's a very not straightforward character. He has a lot of tools. Whereas I feel Frost is so straightforward, and so is Raiden, and even so is Shao Kahn, that when you fight him, you just know what to do. Whereas with Kano, he's a bit unpredictable. So I have him in front of everybody, and I think that works. I think Frost is good here. Me personally, even though I love playing Frost, I'd rather play Raiden most of the time. But once again, we're talking about at a high level. And at a high level, you can actually whiff punish a lot of what Raiden does and avoid it, and he has to commit to it. So I didn't know that, but you can duck a lot of his stuff, like neutral duck. I did not know that, and it makes him a lot weaker. Frost also has crazy gaps, but I feel like Frost at least can fall back on some stuff, whereas Raiden doesn't really excel at anything. Man, part of me really wants to put Raiden up forward, but I think at a high level, Frost might be a bit better. I do actually believe that. But online, normally I'd much rather fight a Frost than a Raiden, but I think at tournament level, at high level tournament, I think Raiden does do a little bit weaker. He's a little bit lesser, I think. I'm messing up here, my commentary is starting to divulge, starting to deteriorate. I gotta finish this quick, gotta finish this list. Okay, so we have Shao Kahn, not Kotal Kahn, don't mix those two up. Neither one is considered great, but I'd much rather play this guy than this guy. I can actually make Shao Kahn work. I've gotten so many of my friends frustrated, even some really good players frustrated with my Shao Kahn. Because Shao Kahn is good at what he does, like he just is. He doesn't have any mix-ups, but he does have frame advantage, and he does have frame traps, so he's scary. Now some of his setups aren't real, and a good player will know how to interrupt every single one, but against like regular players or even like slightly above average players, he can do really well. He can do pretty darn good. Now you can flawless block a lot of his stuff and get crazy frame advantage on him, and that's why he's not as good. Not to mention, very similar to Frost or Raiden, or even these characters, right, Cabal and Noob Saibot, he doesn't have his best moves in his variations. Like, he really doesn't. Frost, my god, if she had a couple of her special moves that aren't in the tournament build, she'd be so good. My god, she'd be scary almost immediately. Also a bit cheap though. Okay, Collector, this part hurts me. This part actually hurts my soul. He's gonna go right here, sandwiched in between the formerly two worst characters. So Kotal Kahn is just really slow. That's his main issue. He's super duper slow. Now you have seen some players like Furious Pillow do a really good job with Kotal Kahn. They are the exception, not the rule, but they do very well with him. And you still do see Kotal Kahn at some tournaments because he can win some matchups. Meanwhile, Collector is quite possibly the most tragic tale of all, because you saw him so often at tournaments when the game first came out, you would have thought he was top tier. He has straight up 50/50s, he keeps you on the ground for a lot of his combos so you can't escape it, he has a command grab, he has a teleport, but he doesn't have any way to escape from pressure, so if you bully him, he's in a lot of trouble. The mix-ups he does have are both punishable, so if you block it, he now gets a full combo, that's not good. Usually at least one of the mix-ups is safe, not for him, they're both fully punishable, so that's not a good thing. And a lot of his combos require certain moves to initiate, so it makes him very predictable. In other words, a lot of his strings aren't useful. Only a select few of them are, similar to Katana or Liu Kang. And that's his biggest issue. If he had a parry, that would make him really good. If his crushing blows were a bit more reliable, he'd be a bit better too. I still think at a casual level, he's really good. Like, he's really good. But at high level, he's all the way down here, and it makes me so sad because Collector's fans, there's some pretty die-hard fans. People who play this guy, they love him so much, and it just hurts me to say this, but I think he does belong here. And last up we have D'Vorah. Last and also least. Poor thing. I loved this character in MKX. I wasn't very good with her, but I did like playing her quite a lot. And I also adore her personality. I think she's weird and quirky, and I like that about her. She's very unique. She's also one of the few new characters who I think is actually really good and should stick around for the rest of the games, because she's just so unique looking, and her attacks are unique, her playstyle is very different, and her lore could also be really good as well. I think she should stick around. The problem is, well, there's a lot of problems. She's very unsafe, she's very slow, you can duck under a lot of her stuff that is safe, so it's not really safe because you can just duck it, and she has to spend meter to keep herself safe. Her combos don't really hurt whatsoever. She does have some cool setups, and a lot of you probably saw Sonic Fox beat people, like some really top level players with his D'Vorah, but keep in mind, they didn't know what D'Vorah could do. You can even hear in the commentary, they straight up don't know what the character can do, so they just didn't know the matchup. If they did study D'Vorah and knew what she could do, it would have gone much differently, I think. Because she's just too slow, her combos don't hurt very much, she does have a couple of crushing blows that are really good, but outside of that, she's just lacking in every other area. And sadly, just like Frost, she does have some special moves in her variations that are really good, but they're not allowed at tournaments. They'd make her so good if they were at tournaments, but they're just not, and it makes her a lot weaker. I shouldn't say make her so good, it would just make her a lot better. She might be somewhere around here or even here if she had access to some of those special moves, but she does not at tournaments, so sadly here at the very bottom of the totem pole is where D'Vorah remains. Alright everyone, that is about it for my tier list. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like down there as well. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.